From the News Channel 5 Network and Out and About newspaper, this is Out and About Today. Sponsored by the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. Coming up tonight, Pam talks with Nashville Grizzlies about this month's Bingham Cup International Rugby Tournament, and Chuck has a look ahead at Nashville and Harmony's Pride concert, Fiesta, in the Entertainment Outlook. But first, I'm joined by my co-host Chuck and our longtime friend and commentator, Dr. Marissa Richmond from the Tennessee Transgender Political Coalition for tonight's Buzz About. Welcome. Good to see you both.
Good to be here.
You know we have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. You know I don't like to dawdle. So, counseling discrimination bill just signed this month. You're already rolling your eyes, Marissa. I know you got something to say.
Yeah, obviously it's a horrible bill. It's going to have a real negative impact, especially on people in rural parts of the state who don't have a lot of options in finding counselors, finding therapy services. This is going to be really devastating to a lot of people. Of course, within 24 hours, we've heard that the Secretary of State of Washington State is going to boycott a meeting here in Tennessee. We do expect other people and other professional organizations to start speaking out around the country. This is just inexcusable for Tennessee to go in this direction.
Chuck?
Well, and you know, even when we look at the entertainment impact, I mean, you know, CMT has already said, you know, they produce quite a bit here. They're doing the Billy Ray Cyrus series, Still the King. Connie Britton has spoken on behalf of the show Nashville. A lot of people are saying, you know, if this bill did pass, which now it is law, that they will not be coming here, you know, to do a lot of this production. It's going to affect sports teams. I mean, you look at how the NHL has reacted, the NFL, how they've reacted. This is going to have a major impact, and it's so interesting to me that once again it all boils down to just being political. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it all stemmed from.
Well, and that's the point I was hoping that we would make next, is that it's not just this particular piece of legislation, it's the underlying message that's there. And I was having this conversation with a coworker recently about how, well, she said, I could see both sides, and is this really that bad? You know, they still have to refer. I was like, well, it's not just the, and I just wondered if you speak to that, Marissa, as well, like just that underlying message of this sort of string of discriminatory bills.
Well, all of these pieces of legislation, not just here, but across the South, Georgia, Mississippi, North Carolina in particular, you know, it's part of a wave right now, a backlash against the progress that the entire LGBT community has made on a lot of fronts. I think a lot of us who are activists knew that this backlash was inevitable. It would come in some way, and so this is what's happening, and in particular what's happening in Tennessee in 2016.
Well, and talk about government intrusion into business. I mean, that's
well, in particular because this nullifies the code of ethics for the American Counseling Association. So big government is telling a professional group how to manage its affairs.
Exactly. Now, moving on to the next topic, and this is something that, again, it's been in the news lately, and we've had a lot to talk about, but it's the bathroom bill. I know it did not pass here, but it has, you know, it's definitely out there. And then, of course, the Target boycott. A lot to cover there. What's your initial reaction, though, when at least it didn't pass here?
Well, I was very relieved, although I did post a statement on my Facebook page apologizing to the young people of Tennessee that they were put through so much unnecessary anxiety and stress because of this. I was relieved. I went to the PFLAG meeting the night of that it died, and I had told the children who were there that night, and just to see the sense of relief and to see that anxiety lifted off of their shoulders was good, but they never should have been targeted. This was an act of bullying in its own right to target young people, and that was reprehensible. I'm glad we stopped it. If it were to come back next year, and Susan Lynn and David Fowler pledged that they're going to try, we're going to have more ammunition than ever before, and we're going to fight it just as hard, if not harder.
Well, and I know, Chuck, you're going to have a little bit more in-depth look at our friend, the pastor from Mount Juliet.
Yeah, right.
But what do you think as far as the social outlash that's come as a part of this, or the social dialogue? What do you think about that?
Well, one thing that it's really opened up, and I think it's supporting, you know, the transgender community, which it needs to do when you get something like this. But, you know, the interesting thing to me, and not only that Mount Juliet pastor that went on his rant and went on, but again, what they do, they try to turn it around, you know, so that it's not even about trans having, you know, the right to use the restroom that they and the gender that they identify with. They try to make it look like, well, no, this is all about a pedophile getting in there, and you know, so they're always doing that. They always position it to turn on what the original intent was. and that always plays on people's fears, and that's where it really becomes dangerous.
Well, because this is something Marissa and I were talking about before we started, is that it's like they feel like they have to get ahead of this message. As we were saying, this wasn't necessarily something that the transgender community brought up. This was sort of thrust upon them.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been talking about discrimination in the workplace. We've been talking about hate crimes and other issues. This bill, well, we started seeing these bills over the past few years. We saw one here in Tennessee in 2012. It really accelerated after November when the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance was defeated. That was about discrimination in the workplace, but it was defeated by making it about bathrooms. And then the religious right sort of shifted and said, this is a winning issue for us. And that's why we're seeing so many of these bills in so many states in 2016, including Tennessee. And except for North Carolina so far, we've defeated these everywhere. Although a city in Alabama also has now done this there locally. And so, you know, we expect to see these continue to pop up. We're going to keep fighting them in all 50 states. There's an effort in Washington State to actually put it on the ballot there. We hope that the people there will stop it, either prevent it from being on the ballot or defeat it if it should turn up on the ballot. And we hope that if we can continue beating these back, as we did here in Tennessee, that that will finally put an end to this harassment.
Yeah, and we've got about a minute left, so I want to shift to another sort of obvious attack on diversity. I mean, literally, the UT Office of Diversity being sort of defunded. I think that it's not official as yet, as we're taping right now, but just the mere fact that it's been brought up seems to be sort of counterintuitive to what, you know, higher education's about. We have a minute left. Chuck, I wanted to start with you. What do you think about this sort of attack on a public campus?
Well, I think, I think it's terrible, and especially when you go to college age. I mean, one thing that's fortunate in society today is college age and thinkers in that realm.
Right.
They're much more open-minded. They want diversity.
Right.
So to take away funds that are going into something that they stand for, to me, was just somewhat ignorant. But again, political.
Right.
And I don't know when we're going to stop in Tennessee, and especially in the rural areas where everybody plays and panders to that right-wing fear.
Right, and Marissa, 30 seconds. I know you're a professor. What do you think?
Well, yes. I mean, higher education is about teaching about diversity, talking about inclusion, and helping people understand that this is a very pluralistic society. We're not all the same. And higher education is that one point in life when you're most exposed to diversity, and to take that money away and fire 5 people in the process is just, again, a really bad step for the state of Tennessee and for UT.
We're going to have to take a break. I'm sorry. I wanted to keep talking. I know we'll have to have the subjects again up later. Okay, thanks, Marissa. And when we come back, Pam has your exclusive look at the Nashville Grizzlies and the Bingham Cup in an international rugby tournament. Stay with us.